Hello, hello, Jonah Di Pasquale, Bike Chat 101 with co-host Gunnar Soros. It is a pleasure to be with you every evening, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for those folks in Rochester, Minnesota. As I said, it is a pleasure to be with you every Thursday. I do not know where else I would be. Tonight's show inclusively talking about Cycle Swami, folks, an incredibly unique business that is in Rochester, New York. Check them out at cycleswami.com. You can find them on I should say a plethora of platforms. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they are also on Twitter. And you guys have checked some of my periscopes earlier. Test, test, test. Any better? All right, there you go. Also, as I said, with further ado, I want to introduce you. Also, Gunner down there below me, or depending where he's at. Also, Tommy Crowder is joining us. Hey, Tommy, good to see you. Harley Boy, and most importantly, our guests, Kate and Nick from Cycle Swami. Again, this is their debut on live streaming on Blab. Hey, guys, just head right in. So, first of all, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
All right. And I'm just getting my audio adjusted there a little bit better. All right. So listen, basically, in a nutshell, this is all about you. I know when I was chatting with Gunnar about it, he was really excited. Tommy was giving me some time. So, guys, it's all about you. Tell us the Cycle Swami story.
Well, I hate riding bike trainers, and a couple of years ago, we just moved up here from downstate, just outside of New York City. And when I moved up here, my sister and my other two brothers were riding at this place here in Rochester, and they told me that I had to come and ride. And I said, no, I can't stand riding bike trainers, so there's no way I'm going to go do that. And they finally kept nagging me and nagging me to go, and I went, and I immediately fell in love with it, and it's that just got me hooked. And then the gentleman that had that business ended up closing, so no one had anywhere to go, and that's where everything kind of started. I wanted to pick up where he left off, and Kate had always wanted to have a yoga studio, so we kind of thought that it would be great to combine the two.
That's awesome. Excellent. And now, I mean, again, you sort of elaborated on how the concept kind of came about, and from the scope that I had teaser that I put out earlier with my kind of quick little pop into the shop. I mean, again, the yoga and the cycling. I mean, clearly, sort of, a milk and cookies collaboration. But can anyone try it? I mean, meaning yoga. I mean, obviously, being a cyclist myself, as well as Gunner, and I certainly know Tommy. But let's talk about number one, the yoga, and then I guess the other component of it is the spin class.
Okay.
So anyone can try the yoga. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you've never done yoga before, if you can't touch your toes, if it doesn't matter. We wanted to create a space where people could come in and they could practice, even if they just, it was their first class or if it was their 1000th class. We wanted to make a place where they could come and they could learn new things, and we could just have a community of people who were like-minded and who were into not only the fitness aspect of yoga, but also the traditional practices and the more spiritual aspect of it, and just create this amalgam of athletes, a space for athletes and cyclists who are,
right,
nervous about, their, or subconscious about their tight hamstrings or whatever it may be. We wanted to also create a space where they could come and add to their training and make it so their training could be a little more well-rounded, and find a place where they could understand how yoga and stretching could increase their not only their flexibility but their strength and their power on their bikes and running and all of that. So we kind of had a big vision of where we wanted to go with the yoga, and we're building it slowly into hopefully a community-minded place where it's just a fun place to come.
Awesome. Now, that's fantastic. And now, I know just with some of the yoga poses that I've seen through some of your website stuff. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm lucky if I can tie my Vans when I get up in the morning after, staying up all night feeding my kids and stuff like that. And yeah, if you do check that out, Gunnar, again, it's Cycle Swami. And like, I don't know, what was the name of that one yoga pose? I think I'm straining my shoulders just talking about it. Hey, how about you, Crowder? Have you tried yoga?
I have. My wife does hot yoga. But I just noticed on your website that you have a new class that just started yesterday.
Yeah. So we started. It's a yoga for sports performance.
Okay.
They're focusing on it's athlete specific. So focusing on strengthening the core, strengthening the back of the body, like working on strengthening the hamstrings and opening the hips, opening the psoas, those hip flexor muscles that get tight, working, the IT, just kind of athlete specific issues that come up and addressing imbalances that occur, in your pedal stroke maybe, or when you're running. There's always, unfortunately, some imbalance due to the training and injury and past injury. So we created that class to address specific issues that athletes may have, and to hopefully also make people feel comfortable, who aren't yoga people, not traditionally yoga practitioners,
right?
Come and feel comfortable and learn how to stretch.
That's amazing. Jonah and I were just talking about that, I think a couple weeks ago, about how the bike helps me compared to, like my day-to-day activity. I was a gym rat for a long time. So I hurt myself in the gym, and I've had major back surgeries more than once. And the bike thing has kind of got me back into shape a little bit, I guess you want to say. I mean, I ride quite often, so it helps. It helps because I'm scared to get back in the gym. I'm scared that if I lift a certain way, or if I push a certain way, or if I squat a certain way, I'll re-injure my back. And that just amazing. I was kind of reading your little bit there on your website. It touched home a little bit, and that sounds amazing. Next time I'm in the Rochester area, I'll definitely look you up on a Wednesday at 5:15.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because once you do get injured, right, there is a fear of re-injury, of exacerbating past injury. And I totally get that. Having injured myself as well, I totally get that. So it is important it's important to honor that and to find a place where you know that you can trust the person who's leading you through to keep you safe.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I got it. So again, now you guys have talked about classes. I just want to touch on the facilities for those folks that are tuning in locally here in Rochester, New York. Again, if you're watching this on replay, Bike Chat 101 every Thursday, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with co-host Gunnar Soros. As I said, we're here with the folks from Cycle Swami. Check them out at cycleswami.com. In the facilities, as I said, if you guys have a chance to check out some of my earlier scopes, the facility itself is really amazing. I guess I got to talk about that really quickly. Is the front of the store clearly dedicated to yoga? By the way, if you ever go to a yoga studio, don't walk in your shoes. By the way, I did that tonight, so that is it's a public.
You're forgiven, Jonah. You're totally forgiven. Yeah. It's all good.
Public apology, by the way. So guys, girls, don't do that. I'm literally taking pictures and I see Kate's like frantically trying to get like the studio together, and I'm standing with my shoes, and I all of a sudden I had like that guy over my head, and she was nice enough to say it's okay, but like I literally felt like I was being chastised by my mom. She's like, it's okay, like literally there's something you've done wrong. It's like Okay, but we love you. So anyway, but seriously, the front of the studio is great. It has a really nice ambiance and environment. Again, it's got the chill lighting, the candles, the curtains. So again, if there are those folks out there that clearly are yoga enthusiasts, they know how important the environment is. Turning the page to sort of like the pain cave or the man cave that I was very excited about, and Nick, you may want to jump in on this one. I did, Tommy, I don't know if you saw my scope earlier today, but man, it's like a cyclist man garage. I love it. We got lots of room. We have bike hooks. We have showers, and eight total CompuTrainer stations. So
Nice.
I don't want to steal your
Right.
thunder, but like tell us more about that because it's just very.
Well, the CompuTrainers, we have 8 of them. They're all connected to a central computer that controls all of them, and they're all linked. So, if you have a trainer of your own at home, that's usually in a basement or a spare bedroom, and if you're lucky, you've got some sort of TV to watch there to keep you busy. Which is why I always hated doing it, because it's something you're doing alone, and you're stuck in a stuffy basement or a room. It's nothing like riding on the road. And then as soon as I got on a CompuTrainer with 7 other people, and all of a sudden you're riding a course that's and you're all linked together, you're all going up and down the hills at the same time, and it becomes a competition. It's a totally different environment. So we can put you on pretty much any course you could ever want. And you bring your friends down or whatever, race against your buddies, and it's an unbelievable experience. You get to see where you're at and get to watch everybody else's numbers, and if everybody's got a heart rate monitor on, you kind of get the gist of whether or not the guy next to you is about to blow up and lose it or what. It's really great. There's a lot of strategy involved. It's really exciting.
That's freaking sick, man.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, my sister and my 2 brothers were doing it before I ever tried it, and they tried to tell me how great it was, and it was unbelievable, and I didn't believe them, and I finally gave in and went, and it blew my mind. It's great. It's really, really great.
Nice. And talking about CompuTrainers, you just had a CompuTrainer. There's a new session that started as of November 1st. Again, I see race series, time trials, hill climb series. I mean, how does that work? I mean, like, how do you have like a hill climb series on 8 CompuTrainers?
Well, we have 3 different kinds of rides. We have the time trial race series, the hill climb series, and then our normal FTP rides. So basically, the riding on the CompuTrainer revolves around power and training with power. So, for instance, a normal, I guess, amateur athlete, you'd call them, that just goes out and rides for fun, they're looking at their heart rate, if they're even looking at anything. They're using their heart rate to judge, how difficult things are, or how much they're exerting, how much effort they're exerting. And that's all right, but it's not very accurate, and it's not very efficient. So most professional cyclists, they train with power. So you're measuring how many watts you're putting out at any given moment. And that's what the CompuTrainer does. That's the real power of it, is that it's continuously measuring your power output. So for an FTP ride, that's what it's. FTP stands for functional power threshold, which is basically the maximum amount of power you can put out for 1 hour's time. So what you would do is come on in every Sunday at 10:30. We have free FTP testing. You come in and you get your FTP. That gives you your baseline. So let's say you come in and your FTP is 200. That means that you can put out 200 watts for 1 hour of cycling. And then you can come in and ride one of our FTP rides where you're gonna stay in specific zones for a specific amount of time. So you would come in and ride it, say 80% of your FTP for 10 minutes, and then take a little recovery where you go down to 60% of your FTP for 3 or 4 minutes, and then go up to 85% for 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. And you don't need to ride ridiculously hard to increase your strength as a cyclist. In fact, they found that just riding in the 85 to 87% range, that's enough for you to grow and get more power as a cyclist. So that's what the FTP rides focus on, is just building a base and gaining power. The race series is a 10-week series where I have 10 different courses that I put on the machine, and you just come and race. Go as fast as you can for as long as you can, and then at the end of every week we put the standings up just so everybody can see where they're at compared to everybody else that comes. Just as a fun little competition. The hill climb series is a little bit different. Its focus is on building your power by riding in the big ring. Generally, when you go up a steep hill on your bike, your first inclination is to shift down into a much easier gear. And when you do that, yes, it gets easier, and your cadence, your rotations per minute on the pedal stroke goes up. But that just makes it easier to go up the hill. It doesn't make you a stronger cyclist. So by putting it in the big gear and decreasing your RPMs, you're building strength in all of your leg muscles, in the quads and the hamstrings and everything. So the hill climb series is 10. It's also a 10-week series, and on the even weeks or the odd weeks, we're doing FTP rides that focus on low cadence but high FTP. So instead of riding at, say, 80% of your FTP with a cadence of 90, you would ride at 80% of your FTP with a cadence of 50, which is a big, big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially when you get up into the higher FTP ranges where, say, you're at 110% of your FTP, which isn't that difficult to reach. But when your cadence is only 50, it's very difficult to not only reach it, but to sustain it for a full 5 or 6 minutes. So that's a big power booster. So that's what we do on the odd weeks, and then on the even weeks, I've got 5 different ascents from the Giro d'Italia just to kind of ride and have fun with, just to see how you do.
Wow, love it.
So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Two things. I see we got a question from Oliver Cook. The Oliver Cook show had a question, and then again, Gunnar, you got to be geeking out on this, by the way, dude. You were like totally talking. I can just see him like, oh my god, oh. This is like match made in heaven. Like I'm totally playing in your hand. I mean, he's all about the. He's like total cycle geek 101, man. He's got the Garmin, he's got the trainer, the roller. So like he's just like drooling. So
yeah, okay. No, I'm totally thrilled about the Compi trainers and the FTP training, and yeah, it's great stuff.
So Oliver Cook show, I see you had he had posted a question earlier, and I don't know, Nick, if this is something you're aware of. He said, "Did you guys get the Strava email today about partnering with Zwift?" So you're familiar with Strava, I would imagine, and our guests are tuning in now. They're watching live on replay. Strava is essentially kind of a geo-social tracking type app used by cyclists, road cyclists, runners, whatever. But at any rate, it looks, and I'm not aware of this, by the way, so this is news to me. I don't know what Zwift is about. But Gunnar, you're pretty hip on Strava. What's going on with that?
Well, Zwift is kind of like CompuTrainer in that it's and it's web-based. It allows you to hook up your trainer and then ride with other people on a virtual course with people all over the world. They have, I think they have a couple of different courses available right now, and they actually have partnered with a number of pros that are kind of regularly on there, and so they've been getting a lot of good feedback. And somehow, when you ride a Zwift course, it'll show up on your Strava result. So whatever your pages are. I don't know exactly how that works, and I haven't tried out Zwift myself, so I'm not sure how exactly it works. But it looks like it's pretty similar to CompuTrainer. So it's nice stuff. I mean, it's cool technology, hooking up the interwebs and everything, and everybody's riding together. It's pretty amazing. So I hadn't heard.
The CompuTrainer can do something similar to that. If you have a Strava account or say a Training Peaks account or something like that, within your profile as a rider, I can put in that your login information, and at the end of each ride, you get a report from Cycle Swami with all of your ride statistics. Your average laps and all kinds of stuff. And when that email goes out, if you've got a Strava account or a Training Peaks account or whatever, it'll automatically upload to those sites. So all the courses that you do or all the FTP rides you do with us, if you want that, it can upload automatically into those sites for you.
Nice. That's awesome. Wow. See, Gunnar, now you have a reason to road trip to Rochester, New York.
Yeah, exactly. I got to check this stuff out and ride with other people.
Seriously. So basically, for clarification for the folks out there catching up, we are interviewing Cycle Swami. They're in Rochester, New York. Check them out at cycleswami.com. We have Nick and Kate Vantucci with us. Thank you so much for joining us. But so now let's elaborate a little bit. As far as folks wanting to get into yoga, wanting to get into cycling, the welcome wagon is like, people, whether they're like Tommy or whoever, they can come in. And is there a fee to try it out? Is your first try free, or how?
On the CompuTrainer end of it, the first ride is always free. Okay. We don't know, some people aren't going to like it, or maybe they just, I don't know, whatever. They just want to check it out once. And there's no sense in charging people for that. You know what I mean? Come in, check it out, see if it's a good fit with your training and whatnot. If you like it, come back for more. And if not, no big deal.
Awesome. Now in the studio, as I said, Tommy, you were nice enough to show the stream that I had put out earlier. There were trainers and monitors. Now, do you have bikes available? Because obviously, when I was there earlier tonight, I had noticed a bunch of folks bringing their own bikes in. And how does that work?
It's definitely you got to bring your own bike in. The bikes that you saw there on the wall were people that store their bike there. Okay. Because when the weather is nice out, it's not a big deal to bring the bike to and from the studio. But once the snow starts coming, nobody wants to be lugging their bike around in the salt and the snow and all that. So for $20 a month, you can leave it, and we'll take care of it for you. And all you got to do is bring your shoes and come ride. That's
it. Hey, I'm reading your blog right now, man. My ass off. Congrats. I mean, that's awesome. Boys are great. I have a 15-year-old boy. Jonah D over here has got a little one. I mean, they're great. I can't stop laughing at your blog. Blog. Just watch and check out the blog.
Oh, thank you. They're crazy, right? It's like sometimes they're getting bigger, and as they get bigger, sometimes I think we're just on an episode of like Wild Planet or something. I don't know what it is, but it's like.
I don't know about yours, but mine's a monster. He is literally like a little freaking monster. Yeah. Sorry, off topic. I'm sorry. But
all good.
It's all good.
And actually, Oliver Cruikshow is inquiring. He said, what is the blog address? It is cycleswami.com/blog. And yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. Their website is very informative. I found,
Hmm.
as I said, I think the interesting thing, just a little bit of background here, is I kind of drove by their shop one day, and like this like sign was out front. Everyone's just like, "What is Cycle Swami?" And then I think obviously after kind of like going to the website and figuring it out, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." But I think in all fairness to both Kate and Nick, it is really a must see. Especially for those of you in the Rochester, New York area, but even still, if you do make a trip to Rochester, whether it's on business or pleasure, it is certainly worth your time without question. So we chatted about a number of things. I also would like to talk about some of your athletes, namely the man of the hour, Rob Man, on your cycling team. And Rob happened to have had some pretty good success in his season across the board. He's coming off of a first place win, men's Cat 5 in the New York State Championships for cyclocross, and recently, just on Sunday, just put the hammer down at Cross in the Park. So I guess the conversation is talk to us a little bit more about that. Is there an opportunity? Is there like a team proper, or does Tommy have a future? Is Gunnar going to be finally wearing a new jersey?
No, I don't. I won't even try out.
Well, we don't have an official team right now. We're brand new, so we did get a kit made just for some of our core people that were interested. And Rob is a good friend of ours, and he was going to be riding in these races, and he actually lives over in Batavia, which is not very close to Cycle Swami, but the cyclocross races is all of Western New York, so he's all over the place. And we said, hey Rob, we know you're a great rider, so why don't you ride with the Cycle Swami jersey? And he said, yeah, no problem. So right now we don't have an official team. That's probably going to be something we're going to work on next season. So.
Nice.
Excellent. Hey, just want to welcome Tony Jones. Tony, thank you for joining us. Bike Chat 101. We are featuring Cycle Swami of Rochester, New York. They can be found online at cycleswami.com. They feature yoga and also indoor cycling classes with the CompuTrainer program, which is really exciting. So I have to say, I definitely want to step up to the plate and give it a try. I will tell you just from my earlier experience, I was explaining this to Kate and folks. I sort of date myself. I do remember when the first antiquated CompuTrainer kind of hit the scene and everybody was laughing at it.
Right.
I can tell you that literally after I got done trying CompuTrainer and I was sweating my ass off, I was like, wow, that thing actually works. So the great part about the concept and folks, just to sort of give you an idea, is you do have kind of that passive trainer resistance, which is nice. We talked about the time trial, the race series, the hill climb. The resistance itself does kick in, and I may be talking to people already that know about that, but it is nice because as you were saying earlier, Nick, you actually do have to start working a little bit harder. You can still kind of work, within your comfort zone, or whatever, whether it's heart rate or effort or whatever it is. But I want to be very clear. This isn't kind of like the Johnny G spinner, where you just sit there and do do do, right? You really have to ride. And the other important thing, which is great about the studio, is it's fans with ventilation. So I mean, again, it's not like the air conditioning's on. There's icicles coming off your toes, but the studio has definitely been designed to make sure that as you're working out, I mean, obviously you're trying to stay cool and you're gonna sweat, which is good, but great design, and I think that's awesome. I really definitely see there being a huge amount of success in your future, because I know that in Rochester in particular, there have sort of been the Rochester, New York area. There have definitely been some attempts at this type of model, but I definitely commend you both, Nick and Kate, for putting the two together, because I would say without question I know many people that are cyclists that do yoga, and vice versa. And I was alluding to you before. I'm lucky if I can reach down and tie my shoes, which is ironic because I should be in shape. I should be flexible. Hey, by the way, Nick, are you taking advantage of those free yoga classes, or are you just kind of like in the back doing your thing?
I try and
Interesting question.
I try and get in when I can,
Jonah.
but I'm not very flexible. But that's all the more reason I should be in there. So I do, after I get done with one of the courses that I ride, I do get down and get on the floor and do some stretches that she showed me, and they make a big difference. So.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely have to agree with that because I can say to you that when I don't stretch, I find out my body's like I completely hate you.
Right.
It doesn't really have to
That's
be like this.
big.
True.
It doesn't
It's
have
true.
to be that. Yeah, it does,
Hey guys, I'm going to jump out of here in case anybody else wants to jump in. It was a pleasure meeting you two. I look
Thank you.
forward
Thank you very much, Tommy.
Nice to meet
Pleasure
you.
to meet you.
to you guys out. Take care. See you.
All right,
Thank
Tommy,
you.
have a good evening.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yep. Good to see you. Tommy is a great guy. A lot of fun. Looks like Oliver wants to jump in here. Family, life, fitness, everything in between. Finally, a talk radio show about your life, your fitness, and learn more at olivercook.com. Boom. Here he comes. All right. Mr.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I'm actually just getting off the bike, so and this is
Nice.
first time on here. So I got some pretty fun stuff coming up here this week, and it's neat seeing you guys out here doing stuff like this. Because there's pretty much people are talking about whatever they want to talk about on here, and you guys have some quality stuff that was just really cool. I got a notification here. Yeah, I don't know if I froze up, but
No, well, you're still live with me.
Okay.
all right, perfect. So I got the hairdo thing going on. That's pretty nice right now. So
Nice. All good.
Yeah,
we were
so-
gonna. Awesome.
oh, go ahead.
Thank you for joining us.
So now, Oliver, you were talking about Zwift. Are you riding Zwift a lot, or?
I'm not. I've been following the social media of fitness for probably 4 or 5 years now. Way back when the stuff was in its infancy, and just never jumped right into it. My degree's in exercise and sports science. I've followed tech for a long time, but it's just really been a hobby. It's not been something I've ever jumped into with the idea of marketing to people or, trying to branch out a network.
Okay.
But this, I'm starting right now, starting from scratch, basically. Just working with a small group of friends with stuff. So, but this show that's going to be coming up has gone through a couple different renditions in the last 2 years. And, it's just everything, the universe aligned. And I found out about Blab here. I was getting ready to release this show on Blog Talk Radio about a month ago. And it's just, again, the universe aligned, and it was wonderful. I mean, to find a community like this, it fits exactly what I want to do, and, reaching out to people. So, just really cool stuff. So to see you guys talking about things that are, I think, important, everybody should be into fitness. You don't have to be you don't have to, have it run your life, but, our culture and society, this is a necessity, like balancing your checkbook and, your relationships you have. Fitness is a critical element. So, the 101 is awesome, getting people in and, talking about things like these, because you get to network and meet other people. And the Cycle Swami, that's some pretty sweet stuff. I actually work for a bike store in Jackson, Michigan, a really small town outside of Ann Arbor. Worked in clinical healthcare for 13 years and was a health coach and traveled the country, doing corporate wellness coaching. And, this stuff is my passion as far as getting in and helping people with fitness equipment and, using my degree in exercise and sports science to do that. But by no means, I don't like wearing the expert hat anymore. I like being just buddy with people and talking about, stuff on a level of what's important to them. So anyways, that's enough about me. You guys have got some great stuff you're talking about. So continue on, and I can jump off if anybody else wants to get on too.
Sure, sure. Hey, we'll definitely give you some kudos. I put it up there. It's olivercook.com, and folks, give him a follow because he certainly sounds like he's got the right frame of mind. And of course, it's hey, by the way, good news for you. You're right down the road from Tommy Crowder. Tommy Crowder was in our lab earlier today, so maybe give him a follow. Maybe you two guys can connect. You never know.
Yeah,
But
that sounds good.
he's recently come back to life. He dusted the bike and he gave me a periscope of, hey, take a look at my bike and let it be kind of conversation.
Nice.
So great
Nice.
to have you in with us, Oliver. Thank you so much, folks. And in the meantime, olivercook.com. Check him out.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off. That way, anybody else can hop on, and anybody who wants to follow me, I'd love to be able to connect with you guys out here too. So I'll jump off, and looking forward to some more great content.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for your time. All right,
yep.
Take care.
Great night.
Take care.
You too.
Stretch.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Stretch.
So that is that's the excitement of of lab. You never know what you're gonna get into, and that is kind of cool because I said it is always nice to get some other interaction from folks. So we are coming up at about 45-minute mark here. You are joining us if you're watching now on replay. Thank you. This is Bike Chat 101 every Thursday 9 p.m. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Jonah DePasquale and Gunnar Soros. The exciting show that you are watching now is an interview with the folks from Cycle Swami. Cycle Swami located in Rochester, New York. Check them out at cycleswami.com. They are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have both Nick and Kate Vantucci with us, who've been an awesome guest this evening, telling us about their business and learning some new things and potentially getting me to convert to yoga, which is a whole nother blab and a whole nother story. So Kate and Nick, again, it's been a great show. We've covered a lot of really key things about Cycle Swami. Are there anything, things coming down the pipeline, any events that you guys want to share with our audience this evening about Cycle Swami?
Well, sometime coming up soon, either right before the Christmas holiday or right after. We haven't decided yet. We're going to be having a team time trial event. So instead of riding the trainer, having 8 people ride the trainer and have them all be racing against each other, it's going to be teams of 4 that ride together on a course.
Oh, nice.
And one of the great things about the CompuTrainer is that it will allow you to turn on drafting. So if you're within between 6 and 1 feet of the person in front of you, the effort you need to put in is then decreased because you're theoretically drafting them. So we're going to have a team event where we're going to have a bunch of 4-person teams come in and race a specific course and have a little competition. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that is really exciting, and I think that is definitely something that is without question a unique add, a unique value add. And I think the big challenge with a lot of fitness facilities is, the storm and norm. Like, I've countless number of friends and colleagues that have just become so burnt out with the grind that they're doing things like CrossFit and Wolfpack and this and that, and hooking a 220 line to their earlobe and doing burpees. I don't, I have a very expensive trainer in my basement, a Kurt Kinetic trainer, which they're coming up on one of our bike chat shows fairly soon. But it is amazing how demotivated I get, even though like I've got like the perfect setup, I got like the mats and the fans, and I mean it's my basement and it sucks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. So the beauty of the culture, and Kate and I kind of talked about this is, I think we do think that we love because we're social beings. Gunnar and I connected because we, share the same social interest of cycling and craft beer. And, granted, he's in Rochester, Minnesota, and, we're in Rochester, New York. Obviously, as you can see the synergy here, we all get, that same mentality of why we're doing these things. So, I mean, I definitely see without question, this being a very scalable thing. Other questions. I guess to ask this, are are you guys like similar to like a Fleet Feet? Are there other Cycle Swami franchises? I mean, like, would there be like Cycle Swami Rochester, Minnesota? Maybe Gunnar, this is your like new side project that you just didn't know about. You guys need to talk about this offline.
Yeah,
Never mind.
that's awesome.
I'm your broker. I make
Nothing
you
like
money.
that
Right,
right
yeah.
now. No, maybe in the future.
We just started in March. We opened March of this year. So we're working on getting our community and our riders and our yoga, where we fit in the yoga community here in Rochester, and trying to work on cultivating that, finding
Right.
our base, our core people, and working from there. So in the future, expansion
So that's a
would be cool.
and that's a great question. I mean, I'm sorry. Did you get a lot? Do you get a lot of pushback from like the yoga community? I mean, do they want like just like pure yoga? I mean, I know the cyclists could give two shits. Excuse me, language, but I mean, is that? Do you find that? No.
No, not at all. I think Nick said it a little while back. We moved here we'll be here 2 years this December. And we had our second son January in 2014. So I was kind of out of the teaching. I taught downstate for 7 years, where I got certified and all of that. But so for me, I just kind of, in March is when I taught a few places around last winter. So the yoga community is still kind of new to me. I'm still, meeting people and learning, but I've found no kickback to people here in Rochester. The yoga people I've met are all insanely lovely and just really great.
Awesome.
I think it's like all the cyclists I've met here, which I'm completely outside of the CompuTrainer world. I ride it, the CompuTrainer, and it kicks my ass every time I get on it. And it's a little shameful, really. But no, everybody here is just really nice, which is one of the reasons we moved back.
And one of the funny things is, again, you keep touching on some really key points, and Gunnar, I don't know if you caught this, is, the whole prowess behind Bike Chat was really just to kind of break down these like stereotypical barriers about people can ask questions about cycling, and they don't have to be stupid questions. And that's really why I gravitated to what Gunnar has to offer, because he's very like, this is it, this is who I am. I'll ask you questions, I'll answer your questions, whatever. But we talked about a segment, and Gunnar, I know you remember this, where you guys are right around the corner from Park Ave Bike, for example. And I worked there and I did really well. I managed the store a couple different times, long story short, but it was like, well, don't walk in there. Their bicycles are mad expensive or whatever. And they worked very hard to kind of break that stigmatism down. And I think Andy and his staff is doing a fantastic job at that. But I think that like with yoga, Kate, me of all people, I feel that I have friends that teach yoga, that talk about yoga, they're into yoga. I feel when I walk into yoga places, I'm like, okay, here comes that guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't like, I always see like, okay, social media campaign, downward dog post number 58, and then itching your ear post 55. Like I get that, but I think that my point is, I just feel like that some of the local, yoga facilities in town, I feel like when you walk into it, like if you don't have like, a 28 waist as a guy and you're sipping like a beet juice smoothie, you're not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't get that, but in all seriousness though, you can you guys can relate to this. I mean, and Gunnar, I don't know, what the yoga scene is in your town, but I have to say honestly, and for the folks of you watching this live or on replay, I feel somewhat, I guess, intimidated or uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I don't really feel like I don't know. Like that's me in general. So I guess my point is, why have I not tried yoga before? I feel like it's that exact reason. Like I'm not walking in wearing, Lululemon garb and drinking like a venti s'mores drink and on my iPhone 7. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So Jonah, when I first started teaching, I first got certified. I was kind of apprenticing, I guess, with a guy downstate, and I assisted in his classes for a while. And he was the only male teacher at the studio. And he told me once, he said, walking into a yoga studio for a man is equivalent, the discomfort level is equivalent to a woman walking into an NFL locker room. Like he was trying to explain to me how hard it was, because we talk about that all the time downstate, in my old studio, about how hard it was to get men to come into the classroom. And here's this guy who's proficient in yoga and a little older and a very successful businessman, and he was intimidated the same way that you're saying to walk into a yoga studio. So I personally try really hard to make sure that nobody feels that way. Man, woman, I don't, size, I don't even know, 28 or size 00. I try to make sure that nobody feels uncomfortable. It's my job as a teacher to make sure that you come in, that you feel comfortable, and that you leave feeling better than when you walked into our doors.
Right.
And I think that's hard, and especially if you're inflexible or you're used to being at the top of one of your sports, to walk into a room where you're not familiar with what's going on and you don't know whatever warrior poses are or whatever. I totally get how that's intimidating. And I try really hard as a teacher to make sure that is obliterated in the first few seconds that you walk in the door. And if I don't do that, if I don't do my job that way, I expect, I want feedback. I want to know how I can do it better. Because I think yoga, especially for you cyclists out there, it's super important to keep you at the top of your game and to keep you injury free, even in the off season.
Right.
Super important.
Yeah, no, I definitely can understand that. I think a lot of the premise of why we created Bike Chat is just really that that educational fluid to get people to understand that, and you use the analogy of a female walking into an NFL locker room. NFL football is my life. Anyway, that's all different story. My point is that one of the earlier things that we talked about on Bike Chat was I think just that layman across the board walking into a bike shop, not necessarily Park at Bike, any bike shop USA in your neighborhood. I feel like most people there's twofold conversations. You get the bike shop people bitching about the customers that buy their bikes at like the big box stores, right? Then you have the customers going, every time I walk into that independent bike shop, they feel like everybody needs to buy like an S-Works Tarmac Super Pro bike, which is not true. I think just in general, I think with our culture as far as where we're going, I think the model of Cycle Swami it's great because it takes the component of yoga, it takes the component of cycling, and really puts that out in front of a customer as a product and says, look, these are very value add activities and tools that you can use that clearly without question are going to enhance your well-being. They're going to make you feel like a lot better. They're going to lower your stress, your blood pressure, X, Y, Z, P, E, Q. So I think that by taking the time to do things like this, by the way, thanks again for coming on to Bike Chat, but really helping people understand that, it sounds like you guys are truly advocating, for your advocates, your ambassadors for your sport, for your culture. I think people will dissolve those stereotypes. Like, for example, why do you go to your favorite neighborhood bike shop? Because you like the way they make you feel, and I agree with that that typical, male stereotype about walking in a yoga studio. I mean, Gunnar, for example, I mean, how would you feel if, you were going to walk in a yoga studio? Would you see yourself taking the same stance as what Kate was talking about?
Right. Well, yeah, I definitely probably feel pretty uncomfortable, and I haven't taken any yoga classes or anything like that. But I think the benefit of having it in a cycle studio is awesome, because then it gives me the excuse of, okay, well, I'm going to go and race on the CompuTrainer tonight, and then maybe I'll check out this yoga class and see. And like a typical cyclist, I could definitely use some stretching and some work on core exercises and all that kind of stuff, which obviously I know that yoga would benefit all that. So it I think the model is a great idea.
See, now not yet another reason to come to Rochester, my friend.
Exactly.
That is awesome. All right, here we go. Oliver Cook Show has a question. It's not urgent, but will you all please include your Twitter handles in this comment section so that I can click on them? I'd love to follow each of you. Thank you. Oliver, if you look in the main screen, each one, there you go. Anello is putting them up. It is Anello at Anello Grande, at TheHoggle, at Kate Van Tusi. Right there at Cycle Swami. You can follow us as well. There you go. Awesome. Okay, well, we are at the top of the hour, and let's keep to our schedule. If you are watching this on replay or watch this on replay and even live, thank you so much for your time. Jonah DiPasquale with co-host Anello Grande. We are so grateful to have both Nick and Kate Ventusi from Cycle Swami. Please give them a follow. It's Cycle Swami. Also, be sure to check them out online at cycleswami.com. They are a premier yoga and indoor cycling studio featuring CompuTrainer and more yoga. That was my more yoga poses than you can imagine. Very, very poor. Yeah. Thank you. Thank goodness for co-hosts. They make you look good. But in all seriousness, though, as I said, folks, we are here every Thursday, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for those folks in Rochester, Minnesota. On behalf of Gunnar Soros and myself, it has been a pleasure for you to join us, Kate and Nick. I think that you guys have a great product. I only see many great things coming on the board, and please, by all means, don't be strangers. Definitely come back and visit us. And one last reminder, folks, every Tuesday we do have a fantastic craft beer chat that Gunnar and I host. You do want to find out more about that. If you guys want to learn more about delicious things like this, that would be awesome. Hey, one quick thing, by the way, you did get me thinking, and maybe we'll go off the air before I say this, but I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna click off, and it looks like we lost